What's up, everybody? It's your boy S.Craft Blends back again with another barber tutorial, and today we are going to do a high taper with a 1.5 blade all around on my man Jonas Rutledge, who is a former NFL Tennessee Titan, good friend of mine, great guy, owns several F45 workout spots in the area. Great guy. So anyways, right now we have the 1.5 detachable blade on my Auster Octanes, and we are going with the grain all around the head. I'm going to skip some of this so that you don't have to watch all of it. However, I am keeping the video slower so we can kind of walk through and talk through this process. Right now I have a number 1 guard, and I'm going with the grain in the area that I'm going to be doing the high taper. I prefer to go down with the grain first before I actually go against the grain with this particular type of hair. Now I'm going with the 0 guard open, just dropping down just a little bit lower, just trying to clear that bulk, but also laying down the hair. The cool thing is the guard will actually comb the hair down in the position that we want it to, and it just smooths it out, gives us a good canvas. Now I'm setting my initial guideline with my Andis T outliners, cleaning that up. And then next we'll go ahead and grab my Babyliss shavers, and we'll shave right there under the line. I don't usually go all the way up to the line, but now watch this. I wanted to kind of get in an angle where you guys can see the clipper. I'm actually holding the clipper out from the head, you see that? And I'm raking down, and that is with here's another angle, with the blade all the way open. So what I'm doing is I'm going down and I'm just really smoothing that area out, and really what we're doing is creating a good foundation for this blend before we ever go up against it. So we went down with the 1 guard, we went down with the 0 guard, and then we went down with the open blade. And as you could see earlier, whenever I was going down with that open blade, I would hold it in a raking position, but the closer I got to the bottom, then I would kind of lay the blade flatter so it would get closer to the head. So now what I'm doing is I made my second guideline with the blade open, and I'm keeping that comb there because I want to show you, once you create a guideline where that comb is at, don't ever go above that guideline. That's your stopping point. So once we created that guideline with the open blade, what I do is I do half and I do close. So I'll drop down a little bit, halfway from the bald and halfway from the second initial guideline that we made. I'll do it half open, and then whenever I drop down to the bottom line, I'll close it and just flick at that line. Now I do the same exact thing, open and half and closed, with my 0 guard right above that. So as you can see, we are doing a higher taper, and I like to stretch my tapers out a little bit. I know some people like to leave them real dark. I like mine to be stretched out so it really looks like it's a clean blend. I like all my fades stretched out, unless they ask for a real dark, heavy blend, then I'll do that. But so we did the 0 open, then we came down and closed it a little bit, and stayed under that guideline we made with the 0 open, and then I just closed it all the way, as I worked my way down towards that open blade. So then I did the 1 and the same thing. I have the number 1 right now, and I just went up a little bit with it open, and then I worked my way down, slightly closing it each time. And if I see any dark spots, I just kind of knock those dark spots out. Excuse me. And obviously with waves, there's different areas that some just get darker than others, and we have to try to work with that, whether it's cutting that part a little bit shorter and stuff like that. He's not really concerned with the waves like a lot of people are, He just wants it short, clean, and blended, and that's what we're giving him. So now I went back to my zero guard, and I'm just trying to tie all this together. And as you can see, there's still a little bulk down below the zero guard, and I'm going in with my open blade and just lightly tapping at it. Guys, look at my hand. I know a lot of times it's moving so fast you can't see it, but look at my hand and that blade on the head. I'm doing it ever so lightly. So many people actually say, man, it's so funny. I've been to barbers and they're so heavy-handed, and they're like, it almost feels like you're not even cutting my hair. And that's because I don't need my hand to do all the work as far as the pressure. The clipper will do the work, man. And what I found is if you're really light-handed and you just, just kind of floating the blade across the head, the blade actually grabs that hair better. Now, whenever I need things to be a little tighter, or I'm trying to get out a line, at the very bottom where it's going into bald, I might press a little bit harder, but not much, because I'll just grab my trimmers like I did now, and I come in, and even with the trimmers, look, it's just real light. And I keep my stuff zero gap to the max, so I have to be really light when lining people up, when cleaning up their neck, when whatever I'm doing. I want my, I have to keep a real light hand so I don't hurt anyone. Matter of fact, the guys make fun of my trimmers. I'm just cleaning up the back now, but a lot of the guys, they'll say, hey, don't go over to Shannon's station and grab his stuff and use it, because you'll end up cutting somebody. Because I keep mine like razor blade sharp as far as extremely zero gapped, but I'm very, very light-handed. Even with kids, man, I have my stuff zero gapped. I'm just real light-handed, and I just very lightly touch. So cleaning up over the ears, the blend's already coming together. I'll come back in later and kind of, do some more detail work, clean it up. But we're just cleaning up that neck right now. Now I'm just going to go ahead. I didn't really create a guideline, I don't believe, unless I just didn't record that spot. Maybe I did. Let's say I did. So say I just created, just a line at the bottom with, we'll say, a closed clipper instead of edger, because it really doesn't look like it. But I just jumped straight up with my one open. And I fade right up towards that occipital bone, and just kind of knocking out some of that dark area, and creating my guideline with my one open. And obviously, I don't really want to create a guideline. I know where that line is all the way across the head, but I'm right now just trying to float it right into that longer hair so we can blend out any lines that are there. Obviously, you can see around that occipital bone area, he's got a thicker, darker patch of waves. Sometimes I'll come in and I'll go, with the grain with maybe like a zero guard or something to knock that down a little bit. Sometimes I'll get a longer guard and go against that just to try to, clean that up or whatever. But right now we're just trying to tie that one open into that occipital bone area, and then we'll close it and work our way down a little bit. But we're just going to go ahead and go all the way across the head, working in that area, just trying to tie it all together. And then, because I'm doing more of a fade down technique in this area, once I'm done with the open one and the closed one, then I'll put my zero guard on, and I'll drop down a little bit lower, and I'll have an open zero, and I'll just put it right up into that closed one. And so many people say, man, I have so much trouble doing the fade down technique, and it's because they get lost from what people have told me. And my thing is, if you know where you're going to put a guideline at, say fading from the bottom up, then you can have that imaginary guideline in your head. You know what I mean? You don't have to put it on their head. You can see it in your head. So just imagine that there's a line there, but there's not, And so anyways, for me, I know exactly where I want that 1 guard to be. I know where I want that 0 guard to be. And of course, I want the 0 guard to be lower than the 1 guard, right? We're working our way down. We're fading down. So you've seen where I had the open 1 and the closed 1. Now I'm just dropping down a little bit lower with that open 0. And then once I close the 0, I'll drop down a little bit lower, and then I'll, fade up under that. Now that I'm done with my 0, I have an open blade. And now I know I want the open blade right at the very bottom, right? So I just go in there and I take that open blade and I just kind of flick it and float it right into that 0 guard that we just did. And then once I have that open blade, let's say guideline, but it's not, the open blade blend established, then I'll start close it. I'll close it halfway and drop a little bit lower, and then I'll close it and I'll knock out that bottom line. It's pretty simple. It's more just about knowing where you want the blend to be. Why I love fading down is because, say you do a number 1 all the way up to the parietal ridge, right? At that moment, you can, if you want the fade to be a higher fade, man, you can start, up higher with that 0 guard. Or you can, if you want it to be a low fade, you can start low with that guard. So now we're going to go ahead and speed things up just a bit and we'll slow it back down. But this is basically the same exact thing, that we did on the other side. What you do to one side, do to the other. You'll see I switch it up. Sometimes whenever I feel like I need to knock a little bit more bulk down, I'll go with the grain to lay it all down. Then I'll come back up against the grain. And then sometimes I'll just do that process back and forth. So now that we have that side pretty much blend in, I put a little hairspray on there and brush those hairs down so that I can get them to lay nicely. Now, his hairline it's unique and it is very challenging to do. On the left side, looking at him right now, on the left side where I'm at, it is really high in that area and it's thinner. But the other side over here, this right side, is lower and it's darker. So I start in the middle and then I bring it across to the highest side, still trying to keep it low. And then once I have that established, then I carry it over to the right side or the lower side and make it even with the side that we created. And of course that means taking some hair off, and some may say a pushback, but you're going to have to push it back in order to get a straight line. That's just how it is. But I don't take it up on that left side as high as I should, or I could rather, because I have color enhancement and we want to keep that thing low as possible. So I come in with color enhancement and I color it, and then I'll put the hairspray on again. Now that I have the color enhancement on, got them lined up, now I come in with hair fibers. These hair fibers are cheap knockoffs. I wish I wouldn't have got. I'm going to go back to the illusion stuff. It just looks better. It looks realer. And anyway, so I put those fibers in there across the front, hairspray it again, and then come back and simply line up everything I did earlier. And as you can see, it looks full, it looks sharp. It doesn't look as realistic as I like it. Looks good, don't get me wrong, but you can see that it doesn't look as realistic as illusion hair fibers do. So you saw I just kind of lightly grazed the top with my clipper, making sure we get all the loose hairs, because that's part of detail work. That's what gets you the money. They need to get out of your chair being like, dang, it's cleaner than I've ever had before. Now what's cool is not only do you have the skin that's clean and dry, but you also have a little bit of hairspray that's still on the forehead there, which creates that cool ash line for pictures and stuff. I mean, honestly, I would wipe it off whenever I'm done. I might use it for pictures or whatever, but it ain't gonna stay. And some people don't like it because they feel like it makes them look ashy, which who wants to be ashy, right? But we as barbers love that ash line, and it's so cool to see that skin, right there, just kind of line up on the beard and give it that nice definition. It's beautiful to us, but they don't always like it. But anyways, so right now we're creating that nice ash line, and it gives us a good guideline to where we want to do. So I'm going in now, just making sure we kind of hit the hairs on the forehead, but also scraping off any hairspray residue, coming back and, you know, scraping that hairspray residue off while also cleaning up that line, making it really sharp. And as you can see, that's not all skin. That's a lot of hairspray buildup. Now on his face, that's more of the skin, and it's because he usually comes in, you know, fresh out the shower. He's got good clean skin, which gives that nice ash line that we like so much. Amanda's sharpening that beard up. I did put a little color enhancement on the beard, and then later he went and colored it and just got that thing looking jet black. So now you can see I'm using my brush lightly to tap at the area where the hair fibers kind of got a little too thick on the edge there. I don't want it to look unrealistic, right? So sometimes when it gets real thick on that edge, I just kind of lightly brush it off, and then I come in and I do detail work. And basically this is what we have right here. I hope you liked it, man. If you did, go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment and a like, and we'll see you next time. Actually, see you tomorrow. God bless you guys. Peace.